I'm saying if 1% of that goes over XRP today, that will push the price up significantly. This video is an absolute must-see, and a friendly reminder to give you just a taste of what the success case will look like for XRP. Let's dive in. What's up guys, Kevin Cage here with another XRP update. Now this video will contain a lot of new information, so I encourage you to sit back, relax, throw it on 2x playback speed, and pay very close attention. And as you can see right in this document, this is Quartz, Decentralized Solutions for Enterprises and Ecosystems. We have Ripple, the network, or RippleNet, right here plugged into the Quartz gateway. Well, who is TCS, this Tata Consultancy Services? Is it just a nobody? TCS is the largest IT services company in the world by market capitalization based out of India. And this isn't even 0.1% of the tip of the iceberg. That's a tongue twister. But anyways, we're going to kick things off discussing Tata Consultancy Services and their Quartz solution. Then we're going to move on to some obvious ties tying Ripple and XRP as a major solution right into the European Union. This rabbit hole goes unbelievably deep, and the majority of people in the cryptocurrency space have never even bothered to research XRP. And those that, and keep in mind, I hold a lot of Ethereum. I love ETH. I hold tons of microcaps as well. But they don't realize why I hold XRP, which is laughable. They've never studied the correspondent banking network. They're only focused on solving the system outside of it. Whereas Ripple's kind of taking a different approach, working within the system. And more banks, as we're seeing, are leaving this correspondent banking network that is highly inefficient. And as an investor, I have one goal. It's solely to get a return on my investment and make money. I hedge my bets in a variety of directions, and I feel like I would have to be an idiot to completely dismiss the success case of XRP. And for that reason, it continues to be one of my largest holdings. First and foremost, I just want to give a massive thank you and shout out to Damor Sahami for sending those TCS documents my way. Great researcher in the XRP community and a must follow on crypto Twitter. So first off, TCS, Tata Consultancy Services, one of the largest IT firms in the world, and actually is the largest IT firm in the world measured by market capitalization. They have a few interesting solutions, such as TCS Banks and Quartz, and also featuring the launch of Quartz Crypto Services. And the challenge listed right here is this: blockchain is undeniably one of the biggest disruptions for today's business and is making inroads into virtually every industry. It's being explored in areas as digital identities and registries, payments, settlements, information exchange, trade finance, e-governance, healthcare, insurance, supply chain, provenance of commodities, music, art, among others. Blockchain has the power to bring organizations together by creating ecosystems that amplify the value delivered by each on a standalone basis. The solution? Quartz, and more specifically the Quartz Gateway, which includes solutions which easily integrate existing applications like RippleNet as listed with blockchain ecosystems and networks. And they even have QuartzCast right here, and you can listen to a variety of episodes to keep up to date. So please understand, this whole Quartz solution is going to be huge for the entire cryptocurrency space. And as we have here back in 2019, thanks to Leonidas on XRParcade.com, we found out when RippleNet was plugged into TCS's Quartz. And it's been shown in a variety of documents at this point, so it's irrefutable. They have over 400,000 consultants in 46 countries. And this TCS Bank solution that we're going to go over shortly services over 1/4 of the global population, with 2 of the largest core banking installations running on TCS Banks, processing more than 1 billion accounts. TCS Bank's capital market solution covers over 100 countries, with more than 10 million trades settled and serviced on TCS Banks daily. That's a lot of volume. And they also have an insurance solution servicing over 20 million policies, as well as over 135 million property and casualty solutions worldwide. Oh, and not to mention remittances, specifically mentioning and connecting to RippleNet, for processing of cross-border foreign exchange remittance transactions. And please remember when Ripple mysteriously removes this video that was up for quite some time mentioning Ripple and CGI connecting entirely with this intelligent gateway. And of course, CGI is not just anybody. This is a video I did a while back. Must know facts about CGI. Last year in 2020, CGI is the company And notice they designed the SWIFT network of international transfers back in 1973. And please remember, CGI, CLS, ACI Worldwide, TCS, all of these organizations are connected. So we know CGI did in fact design SWIFT from the start. And then in 2016, they introduced the CGI All Payments Ripple connector. And then they've been working on CGI All Payments for the cloud. But anyways, I think this is just another coincidence, exactly why they removed this video mysteriously. And CGI processes 40% of global foreign exchange settlement volume. They process over 20% of SWIFT payment transactions. And remember, SWIFT does, on average, almost 6 trillion a day. And CGI All Payments provides improved straight-through processing and handles over 35% of all US wire-based transactions, $3 to $5 trillion per day. And they're connected to Ripple. And they also have relationships with our top 10 banking clients globally spanning over 27 years, discussing Nostro liquidity balancing. And they also focus on the ISO 222 native standards. And funny enough, Ripple is the first DLT focus group to join their ISO governing body. Even on ripple.com/ripplenet in their homepage, as we scroll down, seeing XRP is the bridge. Across 55 countries, over 120 currency pairs, and on-demand liquidity is slowly going to be expanding throughout Southeast Asia and beyond Australia and Mexico as well, which means XRP usage will be expanding. As they've already shared, FlashFX said the corridors are being built, focusing on Brazil, even in Turkey with the Turkish lira. And the benefits are obvious for anybody that's familiar with correspondent banking. As mentioned, the ISO 222, the first member focused on distributed ledger technology. Very interesting. And also, of course, SOC 2 certified. And per the trends, even on Bank of International Settlements on their website, the central bank of all central banks, discussing the number of correspondent banks fell by 20% between 2011 and 2018. So the relationships are falling apart. Obviously, they need distributed systems. And even as the value of payments are increasing, let alone we're printing more money than ever before. Correspondent banking trends, these trends are your friends. And even on another TCS Bank's document, or I should say Quartz, they have Quartz cross-border remittances. And they even mention RippleNet right here. And they go on to say DLT-based payment infrastructure ecosystems can reduce liquidity needs for banks, financial institutions, in managing cross-border remittances, a huge benefit for the Treasury Department. A huge benefit for all players that pre-fund trillions of dollars that are locked up. What happens when that $10 trillion in float, or even as high as $27 trillion, is released? As I keep saying, transfers are approaching real time in near zero. And when I mean near zero, I mean near zero cost. In the existing payment landscape today, it's no competition. It involves multiple agents, high transaction costs, delays in completing a remittance transaction, and there's almost no visibility. You kind of just throw your payments across the globe and you cross your fingers and hope it gets there in a few days. You have no idea if it made it to, the 7th intermediary or not. So basically you click a button and pray. And that's why Swift at least is copying Ripple with Xcurrent and, creating GPI. It gives some level of visibility in terms of payments, but it's still no threat to XRP because XRP is part of the settlement layer. If you can solve settlement, you essentially solve everything. And that's why XRP is so groundbreaking. And what I mean by settlement is when Ripple joins the Nacha Alliance, this is the entire backbone of the US system. Founded in 1974, Nacha is one of the country's premier industry groups, representing over 11,000 FIs. Wow, sounds like Swift. Except they're focused on the ACH network, and right here is the picture. XRP is the settlement layer. This is the foundation of the entire payment stack. And notice back in the day, they listed Bank of America. We were telling people Bank of America was a RippleNet client. Yes, they're not using XRP today, but they are on RippleNet. That is the biggest point that I'm trying to emphasize is yes, there's a lot of coincidences and then they ring true. Just like in trading, when you're looking at confluences on the chart and that makes it a high probability that that will happen, this is how I do my research as well. And people only believe you when you're right. And sometimes these things take way longer than we would have liked them to, but it doesn't matter as long as it still happens. Such as Bank of America being announced publicly that they're a Ripple client. And right here is an open source protocol. Ripple, the company referring to RippleNet and of course the XRP ledger, resides at the bottom of the payment stack, serving as a platform for financial institutions and develops to transact and build on, allows a smarter and more inclusive system, where the movement of money and value is facilitated by rules and guidelines that ensure proper risk management, fairness, and industry-wide standards. We're just trying to welcome the bank to the 21st century. And organizations like Notcha and Swift are the groups that we have to partner with. And just as Chris Larson, executive chairman of Ripple, says time and time again, we've already had the Internet of Information. We have the Internet of Goods as well, thanks to things like Amazon and maybe the standardization of shipping freights. Once all of the globe agreed on a single standard for shipping, the Internet of Goods exploded tenfold. That's the same thing that's going to happen with payments. And of course, decentralized finance. And it's all good and great. I love the cryptocurrency space. But with all of this groundbreaking technology, Ripple is one of the few players actually trying to build the technology that will bridge the new technology to this dinosaur technology created by the banks. So I know Ripple, the company, XRP, the digital asset, is the black sheep of crypto. And there's so much FUD, and they're hated by a lot of the community members that are Bitcoin maximalists or Ethereum maximalists. But the irony in all of this is when all is said and done, most crypto holders that don't even hold XRP will be thanking the company Ripple for their contributions in not only informing, but building the ecosystem and bridges between the correspondent banking network, between these central banks and governments, and informing them so that this overall wealth transfer can take place. And one of these types of bridging technologies is this quartz solution that is developed by one of the largest IT firms in the world, and they're connected right to RippleNet. This is called future proofing, guys. This is why I am bullish on this asset class long term. Yes, we're gonna fluctuate, we're gonna be volatile. If you cannot handle the swings, get out of crypto. So leveraging this approach, existing core systems operational at banks, other payment institutions need not undergo changes in connecting to the blockchain platform, so they don't even have to change or update. All they have to do is use and connect to Quartz Gateway, because Quartz Gateway right here, this complexity is absorbed by them. So they are acting as that bridge to connect all of these APIs, all the repositories of value. And as Brad Garlinghouse, CEO of Ripple, has said, if you want to create an internet of value, you have to start off by connecting these repositories of value and unleash capital. And if you guys have not seen this interview done over 1 year ago by Digital Asset Investor interviewing Greg Kidd, this is one of the first employees over at Ripple, obvious ties to the Federal Reserve. Thanks to him, I believe this is why Ripple was one of the companies that was already in talks with the Fed within months of their creation. And there are just so many coincidences Greg Kidd discusses in this. If you think I'm too hypey, listen to Greg. And what he goes on to say, besides being an early investor in Twitter, a very successful businessman, investor in Uphold, and also the CEO and founder of Global ID with global identification leveraging blockchain, he goes on to say, yeah, I mean, they're trying to solve a $20+ trillion problem. And no matter how you slice it, guys, if you think the float is 10 trillion or you're targeting all the Nostro account money, $27 trillion, XRP success case is a big number. Just like XRP is essentially trying to unlock all of the dormant capital, this locked up capital between the Nostro relationships, Flare Networks is trying to do the same thing with the value locked that cannot interoperate with dApps, decentralized applications, in the cryptocurrency space. And as the crypto space and market cap continues to grow and goes beyond 10 trillion someday, or maybe even 20 trillion plus, Flare and a lot of other types of protocols and platforms are trying to unlock that value, just as XRP is trying to unlock all of this value locked up in the correspondent banking network. So anyways, keep an eye on TCS Banks, guys, right there, servicing over 1/4 of the global population. And I'm sure you guys remember Temenos, really quick, the world's #1 banking software. And you got it, they're connected to Ripple. Over 3,000 banks in 150 countries run Temenos. We can see some recognizable names like UBS down below. And 41 of the top 50 banks run on Temenos. Remember what I said about the 80-20 principle, Pareto's Law. And of course, remember when the Temenos T24 integration took place, a big milestone for Ripple and their integration. And this is all focused on core banking. And now there's many big groups besides Temenos, which is already connected to the top 4150 banks, right? Well, we have Finastra, which is a Ripple client, over 9,000 partners. They're global, and they're connected to the top 48 of the top 50. But I'm sure it's just another coincidence. Ripple and RippleNet is not at all future-proofing. Yes, they are. Right here, back in 2015, Task Group. Now, this is a network provider, so we have gateways, we have banking softwares, we have network providers, all connected to Ripple. Here's a little comparison, and this is actually on taskgroup.eu/solutions, and you can type this in on Google and find it yourselves right now. Go through all of this. You can see some real-time payment schemes that exist today, and Task Network Gateway. So Task Group, of course, the logo is an owl, which is pretty funny, and of course, Christine Lagarde, time and time again, has said that she loves the owl. And she was formerly head of the International Monetary Fund, and now she's the president of the European Central Bank. Right here at the heart of the European Target 2 and Target 2 securities, T2S, real-time gross settlement systems from the very start. So a network gateway provider that is at the heart of the European Union is essentially pitching Ripple, the open protocol for global interbank transactions. And then Demore Sahami sent me this as well. Task Group on the move again. They joined the list of worldwide vendors of Swift, CBPR, plus Ready Solutions, focusing on the ISO 222 compliance that Ripple is in fact a member of. Focusing on TAS's leading liquidity management solution. I wonder what that could be. And even if it's not all about Ripple Net, I guarantee it is integrated with it, just like Quartz. This is about future-proofing, guys. Money will go where it can flow. So if you can plug it, it will come. Focusing on cross-border payments, compliance, we're SOC 2 certified as well over at Ripple. And then speaking of that Swift CBPR that we just mentioned, Temenos, which we've already explained, #1 banking software, connected to Ripple, T24 stack, blah, 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 blah. And they're focusing on their ISO 222 standards and migration, and ready to be fully compliant in November 2022. In their time, they're ready for a significant change to cross-border international payments processing in 40 plus years. Many processing areas within banks will be impacted and will require major updating. Here's a survey from Swift as well. 85 to 94% of cross-border payments currently rely on unstructured ordering and beneficiary data, leading to a minimum of 10% of all transactions requiring manual intervention. I think you guys are familiar with how slow government employees are. Well, let's use our imagination and imagine how slow this manual intervention would be in even just a banking wire. You think they're in a big hurry to kind of solve this for you? If they're even capable to do so, with the limited visibility that exists today? And 78% of banks are being committed to moving to ISO 222. Ripple's there already for cross-border processing according to Swift. Welcome, welcome. And if any of you have made it this far in the video, props to you. Trying to provide some actual statistics, you really get a big picture view. So I hope you find this valuable, guys. Be sure to like this video if you do. And about Temenos, world's leading banking software, 3,000 banks across the globe, 41 of top 50 banks, more than 500 million banking customers. We have this roadmap shared by Citi. And please remember, Citi, HSBC, and JP Morgan are the three huge organizations that essentially monopolize or oversee 80% of all cross-border transactions. It flows through their centralized system. And they're talking about the Financial Stability Board and Committee on Payments and Market Infrastructure Roadmap, focusing on a view of streamlining verification of identity against developing DLT standards, removes the back office processing, cuts costs, helps solve for regulatory challenges, and it gets rid of that manual intervention. It's all about automation, and yes, blockchain is huge, but guess what? Smart contracts is going to change the game. Oh, and then speaking of CLS, oh my gosh, how did we not talk about CLS today? So CLS, guys, continuous linked settlements. Yep, they're connected to Ripple as well through Finastra's partnership and Pay Plus. And I believe it's still called Pay Plus. I'll show you all that in this video as well. So we're going to pay attention to CLS settlement, CLS Now, CLS Net. There's a lot going on. Requires foreign exchange trades to be submitted through CLS. We are talking trillions and trillions of dollars on the move here. You can see right here, over 120 currencies through a distributed ledger technology solution. This is DLT. Also, I retweeted this back in May just to highlight Volante as well. This is another tech provider that's connected to the US domestic clearinghouse and a variety of other solutions. Over 100 banks, 35 countries, millions of transactions, and trillions in value every single day. 4 of the top 5 corporate banks, 40% of all US commercial bank deposits, and 70% of worldwide card traffic. Oh, and they're integrated with Ripple, funny enough, with their Volpay Ripple processor module. Settlement is completed with Ripple Ledger balances. All linked right here. You can type in kevincage Volante most likely and you'll find it right on Twitter. So we're connected with major tech providers, banking softwares, CGI, which is literally responsible for creating Swift back in 1973, and then they connected with Ripple in 2016. And then here's a fat thread that I made a long time ago, let's see, April 2020. Finastra, Ripple partner, 48 of the top 50 banks in the world, 9,000 customers, 130 countries, all linked below for proof and actual numbers for those of you that don't believe. 63% of banks are collaborating with financial technology firms on DLT and APIs. Found by King Solomon, so thank you for sharing that a while back, and this is on Finastra's website. Finastra's Pay Plus is a leading solution used by CLS for foreign exchange settlements. Yep, a Ripple and R3 partner. I encourage you to go through this, guys. I'll retweet this for everybody. And CLS transacts over 50% of settlement volume. And on the low end, guys, let's say it's 5 trillion. Come on, you're looking at 2 to 3 trillion per day. And I'm not saying it all has to go over XRP. I'm saying if 1% of that goes over XRP today, that will push the price up significantly. I encourage you guys to just look at how basic order books function and even play with it and go on different order books, even on like Bittrex or Bitstamp, and see what a giant market buy would do. And then consistent volume would keep the price up and eventually just keep adding buying pressure on the asset. And what I wanted to reference earlier is this. The thing about Greg Kidd is he literally mentions and says, yes, XRP will be a very high price if it succeeds in unlocking this value. It's just math. There's high volume and high transactions, meaning larger transactions on a consistent basis. XRP is not going to be $1 or even $10. It'll be much, much higher. And also the DTCC. This was the Fed before the Fed, with the help of Accenture, an early investor in Ripple, digital asset in R3, specifically said they're going to be using CLS for settlement as well. The DTCC working on many intra-network DLT initiatives, which is kind of like a private network, intranet. But the thing is, these intranets have to connect to public networks as well, and that's what people forget to realize. Oh, and I forgot to mention that Ripple Labs named Donald Donahue as an advisor for Ripple, and he was the president of the DTCC, or the former CEO. So yeah, if that wasn't convincing enough. The Fed before the Fed, responsible for over quadrillion dollars on the move, DTCC. Here's an example. The DTCC processed $2.15 quadrillion in securities in 2019 and is looking at distributed ledger technology. Now, I have videos from 1 or 2 years ago specifically showing when this gentleman joined as an advisor, Donald Donahue, as an advisor for Ripple, formerly the CEO and COO, processing more than, let's see, $1.6 quadrillion per year back in the day. And of course, now it's larger, as I've shown, over 2 quadrillion. You can see their roadmap, and right after this time, like I'd say 2015, 2016, that's when the DTCC started looking at distributed ledger technology. Cough, cough, thanks to Ripple. Oh, and of course, that famous video I uploaded of Jay Biancomano of State Street. They hold $30 trillion, 10% of world's total assets, and said that essentially digital assets will come to the space, and he said it will trickle, 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 then flood. And of course, FIS. I explain why stablecoins do not solve the issue on their own. And I'm not an idiot. Of course, the DTCC and all these organizations will still use centralized systems. But as David Schwartz says, if anyone wants to beat the XRP ledger, they're going to have to build their ecosystem as open as they are. And there, I just retweeted that. Oh, and speaking of CLS, remember, over 50% of the foreign exchange market on a daily basis, and shared by Matthew Liny. CLS, created back in 2012 by major financial institutions and central banks to reduce risk in the financial markets. XRP helps to solve that problem and allows for a more reliant and efficient settlement network. Multilateral netting. 2014, CLS settled a record of, look at that, $10.6 trillion in gross value. This rabbit hole goes deep. Back then, settlements in 18 currencies, and we just read that discussing that CLS does over 120 currencies now. So it's growing. And we also have this gentleman right here, so thank you. I just typed in CLS and found this, so thank you for the tag as well. A while back in April 2020, CLS is partnered with the DTCC in CLS white paper through a partnership with CLS Bank Internationals right here. There is an opportunity to create a global payment utility that enables efficient, low-risk, reliable, and transparent payment services. What better way than using an agnostic digital asset between all of these fiat currencies, starting off with the low illiquid corridors and building your way up. And the weirdest thing is this. You know how we say XRP is going to be targeting the low illiquid corridors first and establishing liquidity, proof of concept, blah, blah, blah. Well, why are they already working on US dollar euro corridors, one of the most liquid corridors in the world? For any of you that trade Forex, why are they already establishing those? And then even the arguments that many people are seeing that there can be a domestic use case for XRP. And we all thought it was only going to be international, but now we're actually realizing in general, it's just payments. So all these groups and partners of Ripple joining this ISO 222 body. CGI removing this video. If you can find it, let me know. Watch this interview as well. Look into Temenos. And remember the DTCC. And the weirdest coincidence is, and I'm not really into the riddles, I don't keep up with conspiracies or anything like that. Bearable Guy 123 has always said, keep your eye on the prize. And I don't know if they're just trolling us or not, but even King Solomon, I talk to him a lot and he goes, yeah, damn, I don't understand, because how did they know Project Ion? And they spelled it like Ion, so you can't really mix it up. They said, keep your eye on the prize, and they spelled it like Ion. And then, what was it, weeks or months later, this came out. And I'm telling you, there's great researchers in this community. There's, Darren Moore, King Solomon, XRP Nuts, Matthew Liny. Like, these guys are phenomenal. I Am Legion. And they've never found anything on this. And then it was let out to public all at once. So all I'm saying is there's a lot of coincidences. And I feel like I'm rather conservative with my price predictions for digital assets. What I do is I hold enough that whether it's a very low amount, in terms of price appreciation or a lot, I have a win-win. I either have a win or a really big win. And it's all good and great, whether you're a super conservative person, you think XRP just stays, under $15, or you're one of those people that thinks it goes past 3 digits. I can't ignore the possibilities and the things that we know. And again, this is literally 1% of the entire iceberg, guys. All of this information goes so much deeper. You can look at the people on LinkedIn, look at the connections. There's just a lot going on. Anyways, massive thank you to Damor Sahami. And I'm going to finish up with a quote from my guy Martin Volk. Delayed gratification. The resistance to the temptation of an immediate pleasure in the hope of obtaining a valuable and long-lasting reward in the long term. Want to make real money? Get good at it. Get good at delaying gratification. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to share this on Twitter and tag me, and I will catch you in the next one.